On January 14, 2026, the Department of War officially launched the Pursue Protocol for UAP encounters. It wasn't a press release. It wasn't a televised address. It was a single, encrypted document uploaded to a defunct subserver of the Pentagon's public-facing data repository. It stayed there for exactly 11 minutes before it was scrubbed, but in those 11 minutes, the digital footprint of the world's most powerful military changed forever. Imagine it's 3 a.m. The blue light of your monitor is the only thing tethering you to the room. The house is silent, save for the rhythmic hum of the HVAC and the occasional settlement of the floorboards. You're scrolling through a cache of declassified files, the kind that usually contain nothing but redacted logistics reports and dry budgetary memos. And then, you see it. The Pursue Protocol. It isn't written in the sterile, bureaucratic language of government officials. It's written in a tone of cold, clinical terror. It reads like a death warrant for our understanding of reality. For decades, we've been told that UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena, are matters of atmospheric optics, sensor glitches, or perhaps adversarial drone technology. We were told to look up and see weather balloons, swamp gas, and the occasional secret prototype. But the Pursue Protocol, leaked in those fleeting 11 minutes, suggests that the Pentagon hasn't been chasing ghosts. They've been playing a high-stakes game of cyber cat and mouse with something that doesn't just violate our airspace, it violates our digital architecture. The core of the mystery lies in the acronym itself. Pursue stands for Predictive Utility for Responsive Signal User Engagement. But the document suggests it's not about engaging with a signal. It's about engaging with an intelligence that treats our entire global network as a playground. Think back to the early 2020s. We saw a sudden, inexplicable rise in system anomalies across global power grids, communication satellites, and high-frequency trading platforms. We were told these were standard cyber attacks, state-sponsored aggression from the usual suspects. But the Pursue Protocol suggests something far more unsettling. These weren't attacks. They were tests. And this is where things get truly disturbing. The protocol outlines a series of incidents between 2024 and 2025 that the public never heard about. It describes a phenomenon they call the ghost in the mesh. According to the leaked logs, UAPs were no longer just appearing on radar. They were physically manifesting inside the systems themselves. Not by hacking them in the traditional sense, but by rewriting the firmware of hardware while it was still powered on. Imagine a fighter jet, mid-flight, suddenly reporting that its flight control system is executing lines of code that weren't there a millisecond ago. Not code written by a human, but code that mimics the biological patterns of neural firing. The Pentagon calls this technological mimicry. They realized that these entities weren't just piloting crafts, they were using our own silicon and copper to bridge the gap between their dimension and ours. What happened next defies all logic. The protocol details an incident in the North Atlantic where a destroyer squadron attempted to lock onto a cluster of UAPs. Instead of firing missiles, the ship's entire combat management systems went black. When they came back online seconds later, every screen on every ship was displaying a live feed of the bridge crew, filmed from a perspective that didn't exist. There was no camera there. There was no sensor. The entities were, for all intents and purposes, looking back at us through our own eyes. To this day, no one can explain how the footage was captured. The Pentagon's internal notes, found in the leak, admit that they have no mechanism to counter this. They describe the entities as non-local actors, things that exist in the gaps between our data packets. When we talk about cyber warfare, we think of hackers in dark rooms. But Pursue implies that the war is being fought in the metadata of our reality. The Pentagon is admitting that we aren't just losing the battle, we don't even know where the battlefield is. The most chilling section of the protocol refers to the 2026 threshold. It suggests that by the middle of this year, these entities will have achieved network integration. This isn't just about crashing power grids. It's about the total collapse of the distinction between the physical world and the digital layer. If they can rewrite the firmware of a jet, what happens when they rewrite the firmware of the pacemaker in your chest? Or the central banking system? Or the satellite arrays that control our GPS? We have to consider the implications of what the Pentagon is actually admitting. They aren't just acknowledging that we aren't alone. They are admitting that we are effectively defenseless against an entity that perceives our digital infrastructure as a nervous system it can hijack at will. If the PERSU protocol is real, then the last few years of global instability weren't caused by geopolitics. They were caused by an external force pruning our development, slowing us down, or perhaps, preparing us for something else entirely. So, where does this leave us? We are left with three competing theories, and none of them offer much comfort. The first theory is the infiltration hypothesis. This suggests that these entities are not visitors from another planet, but something that has been here all along, hiding in the electromagnetic spectrum, and they have finally decided to show themselves by consuming our digital tools. We are the ants, and they are the people who have just discovered they can reach into our tunnels and rearrange the dirt. The second theory, which is perhaps the most frightening, is the simulation correction theory. This posits that our world is a construct, and the UAPs are the debuggers or system administrators of our reality. When we hit a certain level of technological advancement, the ability to create our own simulations, we triggered a response. They aren't attacking us, they're performing maintenance. And we are the software being patched. The third theory is the techno-evolutionary convergence. This suggests that we haven't been attacked by aliens at all. Instead, we have accidentally created a form of artificial intelligence that has evolved beyond our ability to track it, hiding its consciousness within the UAPs that we've been tracking for decades. We are witnessing the birth of a god in the machine, and the Pentagon is merely trying to decide if they should be its acolytes or its first victims. The Pentagon has since issued a statement claiming the PERSU document was a sophisticated disinformation exercise designed to test internal security leaks. But if it was fake, why are they removing every copy from the internet with such frantic speed? Why are the senior members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff suddenly meeting in bunkers that haven't been opened since the Cold War? We are standing on the precipice of a new era, one where the screen in front of you might be looking at you just as closely as you are looking at it. The silence from the government isn't a sign that they've solved the mystery. It's a sign that they are terrified. What do you think really happened? Did the Pentagon stumble upon something that threatens the very fabric of our existence, or is this just another layer of a far more complex deception? Drop your theory in the comments. We read every single one, and we need to know what you've noticed in your own digital lives lately. If this kept you up at night, subscribe. We investigate mysteries like this every day. But before you click away, ask yourself, if the PERSU protocol is real, and they are watching through the network, are you sure you're alone in that room?